Hi everyone, welcome to another English with Joseph. Wow, my goodness, what strange times we're living in. I thought that perhaps today we could talk about the word contagion and what's contagious and what isn't. Wouldn't it be wonderful if English was contagious? Wouldn't that be a great thing if you could catch English from your friends, And why not? Music, after all, is contagious. Let me just show you my piano here. Yeah, you can see it. Well, we know that music's contagious, so why can't English be? What is it? Well, I think one of the reasons is because many of us feel that we can't achieve our goals. Every day I talk to wonderful people, but it's always people who feel so limited. And every day they always tell me, no, my situation is different. I can't learn English because. And they hold on to this belief and this idea without any room to grow. Sometimes they tell me in the most beautiful, poetic, almost Shakespearean ways about why they can't learn English, why English is just so bad for them, But yet they're telling me all these things in English, and they can't see the irony of that. It's very funny, at least for me it's very amusing. And over these recent weeks, I've been thinking a lot about this word contagion. One thing which is certainly contagious is motivation. And while some people tell me why they're completely doomed, or their English at least is doomed, there are other people who perhaps have managed to pass by this and who know that the most important thing for learning English is to believe that you can do it. So the point number one is you need to have something inside you which says, today was a bad day, but my commitment to this thing means that I'm going to get up and try again. I've often said that learning English is a little bit like marriage. Some days are good, some days are bad, some days you really don't want to be there. But it's the commitment, the agreement, or the ring on the finger, the symbol, that brings you back and is prepared to say, I'm going to try again. And that also is a very, very important thing when it comes to learning English. You must be able to forgive yourself for not getting to where you want to be, to move on and pick up. In my English classes of last week, the topic, of course, of coronavirus has came up more than once. And whilst I really appreciate, that in some places around the world there's a lot of suffering about this, it really isn't the end of the world. I was talking to someone a few days ago who had his argument ready to tell me why his life was about to end. And he started off by telling me, that's it, I'm at home now. I said, yeah, okay, too many people are, me too. And then he said, yeah, but I'm different. I've heard this before of learning English. I said, okay, what's different about you? He said, my government's dreadful. I said, yeah, well, there's a lot of that around. And then he said, but you don't understand. I really don't trust my government. And I said, yeah, well, there's a lot of those opinions around here as well. And then he said, yeah, but you don't get it, We're locked down. I can't go out the house. I said, yeah. I said, but China now has no cases after 3 months. And he said, "You're lying. That's not true. We can't trust China. We can't trust the Chinese government to tell us anything." I said, "Okay, so what can we trust then?" "Nothing. And this is why we're all doomed. And I'm stuck at home." And I said to him, "So in your ideas then, we've all been told to stay at home forever until we die. Is that your interpretation of coronavirus?" And he, at that point, I think, realized that there has to be some hope. And we all have it. We all have it. This is a perfect time to look at your ideas and your beliefs. And if this virus is here to teach us anything, it's probably here to teach us that we can do. We can. It's not here to limit us. It's to teach us what we can do. If I had one piece of advice for you to learn English today, it would be, first of all, to believe that you can do it. To have the idea you can do it. And then that idea comes into your daily practice, in your daily life. Now, I admit that the daily practice, daily life thing is downright scary. Okay, that's a separate issue. It's frightening. But it can be done. It can be done. And all it needs is 5 minutes a day on Duolingo, half an hour a day in conversation on Hello Talk or Tandem, the language apps, an hour talking with me if you want to do that. It really isn't such a big deal. It's not such a big problem. And then after a month, you'll notice that your English is getting much better. The biggest problem, I think, for English learners is they don't always have a native speaker there to talk to. And I do admit that without native speakers or any kind of speakers around, you're not going to be able to speak very well. But what you can do, and those of you who know me, and I'm always saying this, is shadowing. So you can listen and repeat, listen and repeat, listen and imitate. Yeah, and it's a little bit like playing the piano. You have to start somewhere and just keep going. And in those days where they say to you, or a voice comes and says, "You know what, I'm not getting anywhere here," and that voice usually comes after the first 5 minutes, you have to keep saying, "Yeah, but my commitment to the thing is what keeps bringing me back." If you have trouble realizing your commitment to English, why not have a symbol of your commitment? Why not get a little ring for your finger, or a little necklace, or something? And I don't mean a new laptop, okay? And I really don't mean a tattoo either. It's probably a bit extreme, that. But why not just something that you can look at to remind you of your promises? That's all I want to say today. I hope you're all doing well and safe. I'm sure you are, in fact. Everyone here is fine. I'm in the UK, where everything is open, at least shops are. Pubs and restaurants are now closed. But life is pretty much usual for me. And remember, it's a perfect time to tune up your English, especially if family is getting a little bit too invasive. All right, so all the best to you, and let's talk again soon. Bye-bye.